Hi there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. I have done a bit of this in the past on my channel, and this is one of my favorite tips to use, one of my favorite tricks that I use when I don't have the stamps that I want. But often I will have either the die or the stamp, but not whichever one I want. So here I have the dies. These are the Curvy Leaves dies, and these are gorgeous. They are quite intricate, but this technique does cope pretty well with intricate kind of dies and things. Now, I did a video a little while ago, about 3 or 4 videos ago, I will link it down below, where I did a similar design to this, and I wanted to show you that you are able to recreate this using DIY stamps. You can do it yourself. So this, I am running through these gorgeous dies on some foam, some fun foam. This one happens to be the 3mm thick, which is kind of my favorite thickness for this technique. However, the 2mm does work fine, and if you find that you don't have enough depth, then you can just cut out 2 of them and then use some glue to glue them together, and that will give you a little bit more height if it is needed, and that's all you have at home, the 2mm. So this one's the 3 and it works perfectly fine. I am going to get these out of the foam. Now make sure when you run foam through your die cutting machine that you only run it through one time. Do not be tempted to run it through backwards just to get a really good cut. It will cut fine, absolutely fine, but make sure you just go through once, otherwise you'll get kind of a double cut where the foam has stretched and it will recut in a different kind of place. Now, as I said, these ones were quite intricate, so I did gently take them out of the foam, and it takes me a second, but nothing that is any trickier than taking a normal die cut out. Then I poked all those little bits out of the center of the leaves here, and we are ready to make our own stamps. So I am going to, as I said, kind of recreate not the same, but a similar kind of layout that I did not too long ago. This is the All the Birthdays stamp set here, and this is one of my favorites. I know I've used it so many times over and over again, but I'm using this gorgeous big happy, and I thought I might go with that scripty birthday, but I kind of changed my mind and went with the little kind of block letters down the bottom. This is going to be straight onto my card bases, so I can make this a completely 1-layer card. This is great for bulk card making or doing lots of batches of cards. I am going to use a little Misty here. Now this could be done perfectly fine with an acrylic block, and I'm going to do the rest of these with an acrylic block, but just for this happy birthday that I'm going to be stamping over and over again, I decided to use a stamping tool, but completely not necessary. So this technique today, you can take any dies that you have in your stash and turn them into stamps, because you can do other techniques like die cut inlay, and that gives you a completely kind of flat surface, but that's just a whole nother technique, I guess. And if you want to change these into stamps, then you can change any of your dies, make them into stamps, and reuse them time and time again for whichever projects you would like. So I'm going to show you that you can get just as good results, perfectly good results, using this foam to do your stamping. So I have my happy birthday stamped out in my VersaFine Onyx black ink. Now this is the way that I do my stamping with foam. I'm going to cut this really large leaf here in half, and I have far too many for what I need. I think I just got carried away and was enjoying die cutting these out, but I'm just going to use a couple here. And I'm using some double-sided tape. You can either pop the double-sided tape straight down onto the acrylic block, or you can do it this way, which is where you pop a little bit down onto the back of your designs. It doesn't have to be, you know, perfect. It can go over the edges and things, because this is not going to be the bit that's going to be coming into contact with the ink. So this is just so that we are attaching it to our acrylic blocks. Again, you could just put a little bit down on your acrylic block and do it that way. That's probably the least fussy way to do it, but I did it this way today. Either is going to work fine. Peel off that release paper and then pop this down onto an acrylic block, and you can kind of readjust it so it's sitting exactly how you want it to go, just like you could with any acrylic or photopolymer stamps. And as I said, I'm going to do 3 of the different kind of leaf designs today, and that way I can get a little bit of variation. Now you can treat these stamps pretty much like you would any other stamps. You can use dye inks. I'm going to be using pigment inks today, and this is the Charming Pink on the left and Cheerful on the right. I actually end up using this orange one, which is Summertime, instead. No rhyme or reason, just what I felt like. And for a little bit of fun, I decided to do kind of a 2-tone look. And so I do have a finger dauber there, which I'm just going to gently go over that little bit where the 2 colors mix and just give it a quick dab. And you can see the gorgeous results here. I thought I would try it out on a test piece of paper first, just so that I could kind of get the original layer of ink into the foam. and it works perfectly. Even the first stamp was absolutely perfect. So I'm going to pop onto my card now and start doing my card bases. Now I did kind of want to walk you through this process because I am going to start with these colors and then I'm going to go on to blues and greens and all sorts using the exact same stamps, and I'm going to still get really good results. These clean off pretty well. The ink kind of does stain the foam, but almost no worse than it would stain normal stamps. I guess these aren't meant to be kept forever, don't get me wrong, they probably don't and won't last as long as normal stamps, but sometimes when I buy the die of something, or it doesn't even come in a stamp, it doesn't have a matching stamp or anything like it, and I just have the die in my stash, and I think that would be really cool if I made that into a stamp. And this is just a fun technique and a fun way that you can go about doing that. And I have quite a few videos on my channel where I have used this technique. This is a fantastic technique that I still use and love, and as you can see, you get really good results. So here is card number 1 finished. So I've just got that little bit of foliage poking in from the bottom left hand side and then a little bit from the top right as well. And so I use the pinks and the oranges on this one, but for the next one I'm going to give these a little clean off. Now I'm using a baby wipe here, a damp baby wipe, and I just give it kind of a gentle little rub. You don't need to kind of rub and scrub and really go for gold, but all I do is once I have given them a little bit of a clean and I think I've got that top layer of ink off, then I'm going to stamp them down onto some scrap paper just to double check before I go ahead and put more inks on top of them to make sure that they are going to stamp nice and clear. So on this scrap piece here, you can just see I'm going to stamp down a couple of times, and there is a little bit of dampness the first time from the baby wipe, but apart from that we are good to add on the next colors. Now this time I am going to use that yellow and the orange. This is Cheerful and Summertime VersaFine Clear inks. These are gorgeous pigment stamping inks, and I will leave links to everything down in the description box below. I recently also invested in the re-inkers for my VersaFine clears because I have chosen to go with these inks. I absolutely love them and I think they are really good value. And as I said, I went ahead and got the re-inkers, and that way they're going to last me a long time. Now, if you were inspired by this technique or this video, or you would like to give this a go and you have your own versions of this, then I would absolutely love to see your creations. The best way that you are able to show me our pictures and things is over on our Facebook group that is called Come Crafting with Natasha, and we have an amazing supportive group there. We are so very lucky. So I will leave a link to that over in the description box down below this video, and you can pop on over there. Otherwise, just search Come Crafting with Natasha and that should pop up as well. Now here, this is kind of going against the grain because I'm going to move from using the yellows and oranges and the pinks to using blues and greens. Now usually you wouldn't pile on greens and blues on top of yellows and pinks and things because you're potentially going to make mud. But I did just want to kind of show you that for the purpose of this video that you are able to clean the inks off pretty well. If you can, I would probably advise that you had some different foams, and I could have because I had die cut enough that I could do these separately, but I just wanted to show you that you still get really good results. So I have that olive green color and then that gorgeous blue, and I'm just going to ink them up like I did the first time around, and I'm getting really good impressions, really good results, and all three of these cards look really clean and crisp, and you would never be able to tell the difference that I stamped with foam instead of stamping with normal acrylic or photopolymer stamps or red rubber stamps or whatever you have in your stash. You'd never be able to tell the difference. So this is the third card in the set, done and dusted. There is a little bit of orange on one of those petals that I see there, but on one of the leaves, sorry, but I guess that's probably my cleaning rather than anything. Then I'm going to take out some gems just to finish these off. Very clean and simple cards, and I guess this doesn't really make it one layer anymore, but all the stamping is one layer. So I'm just using a little wax pen to pop these gems in place, and then I will hold them on using some Ranger's Multi-Medium in the matte finish. That's the glue that's in this glue bottle, and you could add a whole lot more things to these or more stamping, but I just really like this little bit of gem. It gave them a little bit of shine, really nice and clean and simple, and I could either give these away as a set, or my family often raid my card stash depending on what they need for that week, so I'll see if these are still there next week. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy DIY stamping, creating your own stamps with your dies, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks, bye!